I'm here, the cardigan's here, and we're back in the charity shop, which can only mean one thing. It's Monday. Hi everyone, my name is Charlie, and this is the beginning of another reading vlog. I did not finish reading a single book last week. I had very high hopes to finish Prince of Thorns, for I read 200 pages in one fell swoop on Thursday, but Friday was in work. Saturday, after work, I had to go to an 80th birthday party for one of our writers from the writers group. They'd asked us beforehand if we'd read a poem or two and do an almost open mic situation, of which my friend Joy ended up being the compere. It's a great venue, it's where we do poems and pints, and it was nice to see so many people come out and celebrate our poet's 80th birthday. And then yesterday, I finally watched the Christmas Chronicles, which you will be able to hear more about on Charlie and Charlie's Christmas Cracker, the 3rd edition for 2024. And then my sister came around for a roast dinner, so the entire day was really taken up with that. She arrived at 12:30. She didn't leave until after 3. Mine and my mother's plans to take Sally down the towpath and my mum to visit my grandmother just completely blown out of the water. And I didn't get to read either. But still, we're here. It's a Monday, and this week isn't as busy as last week, but there's still a lot going on. Hopefully I'll find some time to read this evening and tomorrow to finish that book, and then I have no idea what I'm gonna do. I started listening to the cricket on the hearth whilst in the bath yesterday, and then completely zoned out, so I'm gonna go back and read a few pages of that. But I'm sure I will, and I'm sure I'll get that done, because we do got to read a few more books before the end of this year. We got to finish some of the ones we started, actually. Maybe that's what I should try and do this week. Not open any new books, but finish the ones I've already started. Do we think I can do that? Well, we can only do one thing. Wait and find out. But for now, coffee. Well, I don't feel like I can call the last 2 weeks reading vlogs, because my reading just isn't happening, simply because of the way things are going at this time of year. I am still reading Prince of Thorns. I have about 80 pages left of that, and something just happened that made me recognise that this is not a book that is set at the time in which I believed it to be set, which makes sense because there were all of these things talking about a long line of philosophers, and our protagonist is incredibly well read, and I thought this makes sense because he's a prince, but the people that he's reading, I feel like there was a long span between them. And then one got mentioned last night and I thought and then there was almost a reveal of something. I'd be interested to see how this is going to work out and what this means for the timeline, if this is going to give me a better idea of when the book is actually set. I've been thinking we're looking at a stereotypical medieval fantasy, and I'm beginning to think that maybe that is not the case. Otherwise, haven't read any more of the Cricket on the Hearth. I really need to work on getting some of those Christmas books read if I am going to get them back in the shop by next week. And I still haven't read my book that was the Charlie and Charlie pick, and I need to read that by next week as well, because it will be the final of our Christmas Cracker videos, which is surprising how fast that's come around when I think about all that Charlie's read and all that I haven't. But also, really, last week was only the first week of December. This has only been the second. I'm disappointed that I haven't read more, but I haven't had the time. Like, I haven't even had the time to record this week. I knew that this was what would happen at the time of year. It happens every year. It's just when I have big plans and I feel like I don't have the time to achieve them, I get a bit annoyed. Also dealing with more joint pain today, which I think can only be because of the cold. So that leaves you feeling a certain type of way as well, doesn't it? But today, I'm in work. I am in charge of the shop today. Isn't that fun? Firstly, one of the things I want to do is get the book sorted, as always. Then we'll try and get some clothes out, get clothes sorted. This evening, go home. Hopefully finish reading Prince of Thorns. And over the weekend, nothing will be read tomorrow. I know that now, because in the evening I have the works due for just the shop. But Sunday, there might be a chance of reading. My sister could still come round, hopefully. Like, currently, my whole plan is just to treat Tuesday like a day of reading and do nothing but read. You know, walk the dog, but just primarily focus on the reading. And then Wednesday, maybe get a bit more in. Thursday next week is really the only day that I currently have anything planned, and I'm planning on turning my entire day around there to do my final Christmas shopping, and even then I could do that in a different fashion. So fingers crossed next week is the week for reading for me, because I've got a lot that I want to get done. It's Saturday, so I am really just here to draw a line under things for the week. And last night I finally finished reading Prince of Thorns by Mark Lawrence. I have been interested in reading Mark Lawrence for a while because of his books that are set in an impossible library. And the reason behind this is because over a decade ago, I was writing a middle grade series that was also set in this impossible library, in which characters from books had escaped their bindings and they were kept there in an almost prison-like situation. I've gone back and forth over it for over a decade now, and part of me thinks it'll never be released. It'll just be a lovely side project like a lot of the middle grade stuff I work on. But whenever I see something about characters coming out of books, such as Jasper Fforde with the Air Affair in those books, or the Mark Lawrence books, or even the Anna James ones, I always think about that. So when Prince of Thorns came in the shop, I was looking for something to read, picked it up, and thought, yeah, I'll take that home with me. It completely goes against everything I've been doing this year, which is focusing on the books that are on my shelves and the books that I say that I'm going to read. But we're approaching the end of the year, we can go back to different old habits. So I took this home and I finally got a chance to sit down and read it last Thursday when I read the first 200 pages. And then the last week has just been such that I have only read it in fits and starts. I think possibly that was to the book's detriment, because it meant that I did forget some of the characters. At the same time, I feel like I left the book wanting a lot more and missing a lot. Now, I know there's a trilogy and there may be more revealed in the next few books, but I felt like I didn't really understand these characters' relationships with one another. At the same time, I then begin to wonder, was this a grim, dark book that was written for the young adult market due to the character's age and the behaviour there? Quite honestly, there isn't a lot of gore, there isn't a lot of grisly stuff happening in this book, at least there wasn't in my opinion. Personally, I just felt like I wanted a little more history. Now, maybe that is something that's going to come up in the next couple of books, because I did go and read the blurb for the next book and someone had reviewed it and revealed something that I think I'd been getting towards the end of the first book, when a certain event happened in a cave and then we had another event that was a huge climactic moment. But maybe that was the issue that I had as well. There was a lot going on and a lot of things could have been climactic moments. And I feel like the book felt like it was made up of many different parts. It was almost like these films we see where, let's go for the Marvel movies here, when it could have been a standalone entity, but because of studio intervention, they've decided that they're going to connect it to all their other books. And so now they've got to include a different plot in there. Or was Mark Lawrence writing about a band of outlaws with a teenage leader and then decided he was going to go for the whole princely aspect of it and take it in a different direction? Or were we going for a rather dark, twisted take on a new Robin Hood narrative? I don't know. Part of me really enjoyed it because I liked the character voice, I liked how fast the book moved, and I liked these different creatures that were appearing that I didn't feel had been mentioned in fantasy fiction before, and it did have this very grounded feel to it. But I also feel like I didn't get enough about who all these characters were, and it just felt like at the end of it, these characters were names with vendettas as opposed to fully formed people. So I don't know whether I'll go on and read any more of the books in the series. It's certainly fast paced, but I didn't really feel any thrust through the story. I didn't care to have like an emotional connection to the characters. I understood the protagonist and the grief that this character was feeling and how it had inspired decisions that he went on to make. And there was a twist towards the end, but that twist felt very much like right by numbers of, well, this is where we have the twist in the narrative, so it's going to happen here. And whilst there was a bit of dramatic irony to a certain final scene that had me smiling at the way it was done, overall, I think I was left feeling like the book was lacking, which is never something that you want to feel at the end of a book. But maybe if I were to continue with the whole series and finish the trilogy and then read the companion trilogies, I might get more of a full overview of what Mark Lawrence was trying to do. But hey, that's that. I'm done with that, and today no more reading's going to be happening because I'm at work till 5, and then the shop Christmas party starts at 6:15, so I've got to be up the road for that. And then tomorrow I'll be off. We'll hopefully be able to get some reading in tomorrow, but I do think that my sister might be coming around for another roast dinner, so that's the day then. But maybe. I'd hope to watch another Christmas film tomorrow, and if my sister's there, I can usually foist Christmas films upon people because she likes them too. But she also talks a lot, so, well, we always talk a lot, so usually we don't need anything on in the background because the chances are it ain't getting watched. Anyway, that's me, that's my week. Not a lot of reading, but I think I am now going to be my least busy in this next week before I go into Christmas week. So I might actually get my wrapping and things done this week so I don't have to worry about it in the following week. And also then it's done and I could wrap presents while listening to audiobooks, which is what I've done in previous years. So yeah, we will see how everything turns out. Anyway, how has your week been? What have you been reading? What have you been getting up to? Has your week been full of Christmas and festive joy? Let me know in the comments. I hope that you have enjoyed this video, because until next time, that is all.